How's it going, everybody? So today I'm back out here at Grand Central Station Disc Golf Course, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. I know most of the time I'm just recording practice rounds, doing a little bit of a course preview type of thing. But today I thought I'd actually walk you through what's going through my mind on each shot. So I'm going to pick out 2 or 3 holes here at the course and tell you what's going through my mind, some of the factors I'm taking into play off the tee shot, off the approach, and even on the putt. I'll pick out just a few random holes here and walk you through those. All right, guys, so we're here on hole number 2 of the Locomotive course. This is also hole number 11 on the Freight Line course. It's a very challenging par 4. In my opinion, it's one of the hardest holes on the course. It's 580 feet. Basically, you have a pretty open tee shot, and then it goes down into that black hole in the woods. That's the tunnel you have to go through, either on your first or your second shot. And then it bends downhill a little bit to the right on a very tricky green. So a few different things as I'm approaching this tee pad. There's a few different plays you can go for. You can either be risky, try to hit the gap off your tee shot, which if you finish left or right in the woods, good luck, because there's not a great line to get out of that. So for me, the obvious play is I'm gonna try to land as close to the tree line in the mouth of that gap as I can to set myself up for a good second shot. Now, that's the play off the tee. Now, some of the other factors I'm looking at are where is the most space I can work with. So on this particular tee shot, you might notice that there's more space off to the left than there is to the right. So what that communicates to me is that this is a forehand shot. I have a little more space. I can hang it out a little bit wider, trust the disc to come back in a little bit more, and hopefully sit right at the mouth of that gap. The other thing I'm looking at is where is the landing zone and what is it doing? So in this one, I'm trying to, again, land as close as I can to the tree line at the mouth of that gap. And overall, it's pretty flat, but there is more of a right to left slope on this hole. So what that tells me also is if I throw a sidearm, that sidearm is going to skip into the hill as opposed to with it. So it's going to slow the disc down, and that's exactly what I want. I want it to sit down, hold right at the bottom of, at the mouth of that gap rather, and set me up for a good second shot. Now today we don't have a ton of wind, but the wind is also something I'm gonna be looking at pretty much on every single tee shot. Now, typically when I'm playing this hole, I have more of a left or right wind that wants to push my disc over into the woods on the right. So what I'm telling myself here is I'm trying to keep that disc low and flat so that the wind doesn't get under the flight plate and push it over to the right. So I'm gonna be throwing my overstable scepter here. I'm gonna be trying to keep it low out to the left, have it skip in, and hopefully get me close to the tree line, but at the mouth of that gap. So we'll see how it plays out. So as you can tell, this landed in pretty much the ideal spot. I'm right at the mouth of the gap, as close to the tree line as I can be. So basically, the basket goes down this gap, bends off to the right, and again, has a really tricky green to it. So I'm gonna throw something slow that's not gonna skip too far. I'm gonna try to go with my zone just because it pushes straight, but then has that fade. So we'll see what we can do with it. Definitely in a good position for the birdie here. So that shot went a little bit more inside than I would have liked, but it did get through, and I should be down there on the green for the birdie. So as you can tell, my disc landed just inside the circle. I probably got about 25 feet left to the basket. I do have a pretty significant drop off behind this one, so what I'm telling myself is don't miss left or right. Make sure to at least hit the basket, but at this distance, I should be giving this one a pretty decent run. So I'm definitely gonna go for the birdie here. However, if you're a player that's more uncomfortable with this distance, it's definitely not a bad hole to take a par on. But at this, having this 25-foot look, I'm definitely gonna try to take advantage of the birdie here. And that's how you birdie the hole. All right, so we're here on hole 12. This is also hole number 3 for the Locomotive line. This is a very short par 3, 235 feet. If you've ever played this course, a lot of people might be asking, out of all the holes to show on this course, why are you showing this one? And the main reason is because I've found that this actually has been one of the more versatile tee shots that I've seen players use. So I've seen everything from putters, mid-range, drivers, forehand roller, tomahawk, you name it. I've seen it off the tee on this one. As you can tell, you have a very tight gap off the tee, and that's the main thing you're focusing on hitting as you step up to this tee. After that, it opens up a decent amount. It basically goes uphill the entire way, finishes off to the left. Now for the righty backhand player, this is just a simple hyzer. Now for me personally, I can reach this with a putter or a mid-range pretty easily. But also one of the things I'm thinking about is I want to make sure that that disc finishes left as it pushes uphill. So what I actually do on this hole is I actually go with a driver. One of the main reasons for that is I do have a pretty decent backstop up on the hill. So if I do put a little too much on it, that hillside is going to slow that disc down and put me close to the basket. The other thing I'm thinking about is throwing a driver as opposed to a putter or mid-range is I don't really have to worry about controlling the angle as much. Because I'm throwing something a little bit faster, I actually can slow down the speed of it, make sure I hit the gap, and then it also has that fade to it. So sometimes, you know, players like to disc down, sometimes they like to disc up. For me, I'm definitely more of a player who likes to disc up more than not, just because I can have that control aspect to it that a lot of other players might not think about having. So I'm gonna go with a driver here. Again, make sure I hit this initial gap. That's what I'm focusing on mostly, but then making sure I have a disc that's gonna fade to the left and put me in position for the birdie. So as we're walking up to this drive, as you can tell, that was basically picture perfect. I don't expect that disc to be more than 10 feet from the basket. It's gonna be a tap in. So the main thing, again, that I was trying to do, make sure I hit that initial gap and then make sure I have something that finishes to the left. If I do that, I know on this hole I'm gonna have a birdie every single time. All right guys, so we're on here to one of the signature holes out here at Grand Central Station. This is hole 14 of the freight line, hole number 5 of the locomotive line. As you can tell, really nice fairway setup, really nice gap, all the way to an island green that's basically about circle's edge all the way around. It's only 180 feet, but it does require a lot off the tee. So as you can tell, once again, you have the tight tee shot with the tight line that you have to hit. But the main thing on this hole is all about speed control. So you want to make sure that you're not only shaping the hillside, having something that goes with it, but you also want to make sure that you have a disc that's going to stick to that green really well. So what I'm thinking here is, again, I want to shape the hillside. I don't want to throw something up too high that's going to fade out or push too far, since it is such a short hole. What I'm trying to do is just kind of go downhill as the hill gradually goes down. And what I'm aiming for on this one is I'm aiming about 20 to 30 feet short, really just over those rocks on the front side of the island, land it a little bit short and have it slide up to the basket, making sure that I have enough room to work with in case that disc does want to slide. You can go with a forehand here, try to flex something and spike it. You can go with the backhand, whatever you're comfortable with hitting the gap. But for me, I'm gonna slow things down. I'm gonna make sure to not go too fast off the tee, and I'm really gonna work on making sure I come through smooth and have that disc do the work for me. So we'll see how it plays out. So as you can tell, that worked out pretty much picture perfect. Landed it just short of the basket, had it slide up, but you could also tell that that disc scooted basically to the back of that island, which these things are known for sliding and sliding off of those rocks and out of bounds, in which case you have to go to a drop zone in order to make your par putt. So again, speed control is crucial here. You really want to make sure you throw a disc that's going to slow down on that fast mulch, make sure to put you up in a good position for your birdie. So I'm going to have about 20, maybe 25 feet left for the birdie. Should be pretty routine in order to get that one on the board. All right guys, so that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I hope this was something that's helpful for you. I just noticed that I actually birdied all those, which doesn't typically happen. So This was a good day for playing those 3 holes, but I hope this was helpful for you in thinking about how you approach a tee shot. But let me know, if you were playing these holes, what would you do different? Would you throw a backhand instead of a forehand? Would you throw something a little bit faster rather than something slower? Would love to hear from you. But guys, in the meantime, hope everybody's staying safe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Also guys, I am playing around out here at the Locomotive course, so a lot of these shots that you're seeing on this hole breakdown will be in that video. I did want to put a little extra pressure on myself to perform for those. So be on the lookout shortly for my practice round at the Locomotive course.